young couple with 2 young children, at the time 2 boys, who lived down the street from us. The eldest child kept saying to my partner, "I am a girl, I am a girl." At the time, the child was 4 years old, and somehow knew. Fortunately, she was born to open-minded parents, and now she is a little girl. And I might add that she is more of a little girl than my partner and I ever were. Around the same time, I was becoming a Unitarian Universalist and taking a class here at Restoration and reading the Bible. For the first time, this was not required reading. Soon the muse was descending on me, and I was writing a novel based on biblical themes with gender-fluid characters. At the same time, I was reviewing a book on transgender issues. I remember reading a passage that if trans people saw themselves reflected in the Bible, we will live in a different world. I titled the novel They. They is known as a plural pronoun in the English language, which is inclusive of both genders. They is also increasingly used as a singular pronoun to signify a person who does not identify with male or female. It also has a history as a singular pronoun. It is a pronoun of choice for many who identify as non-binary, that is not male and not female. Gender is a spectrum, and in my experience, it ranges from extremely butch to extremely femme, and there are many options in between. As a lesbian over 6 feet tall, who on occasion is called sir, I have given gender some thought. I have always believed that we are more alike than different. Gender is not necessarily fixed at birth. Some people are born intersex, that is, with male and female sexual characteristics. Many trans people feel like they were born in the wrong body. And increasingly, many young people are identifying as non-binary. To me, it all makes sense, including the non-binary choice. Behavior and clothes do not have a gender. When I was young, we called this way of thinking androgyny. As a very independent feminist friend said to me when her niece was becoming her nephew, "I've been gender non-conforming my entire life. We should be beyond gender." But the recently released U.S. Transgender Survey found that we as a society are definitely not beyond gender, or beyond making it extremely difficult for trans people. The statistics are disturbing and not unfamiliar to me. Much has changed since the early 1980s when I was coming out in my early 20s, but some say the more things change, the more they remain the same. Enter Vice President-elect Mike Pence. The incoming administration is extremely right-wing, that is very anti-human rights on all fronts, and also holds positions that are destructive to the planet. So what can we do about it? One thing we can do is to keep an open mind and heart and stand strong and be allies to each other. As Unitarian Universalists, we have the opportunity, as expressed in the first UU principle. We believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We believe in the sacredness of ourselves and the sacredness of each other. I have presented several excerpts from the same novel at Restoration. In this version, Tamar is reborn from the Hebrew Bible as the twin sister of Yeshua, the Hebrew name for Jesus. In this excerpt, Becoming Thomas, Tamar transitions to Thomas. There are many non-gendered pronouns that people who identify as non-binary use to define themselves. In Becoming Thomas, I use the following pronouns, which may be new to you, and they should be on the slide right here. H-I-R, which is pronounced here. H-I-R, self, which is pronounced here, self. Z-E, which is pronounced Z. Becoming Thomas. Since Tamar had become Thomas, he carried a small scroll. One of the benefits of here brother twin brother, Yeshua, deciding to make here male, was that Z could write in public. It felt liberating. Thomas unraveled her scroll and wrote, "So this is how the one known as Tamar became known as Thomas, and joined forces with here, twin, to heal the sick, give sight to the blind, and raise the dead." First, Yeshua gathered his apostles. It wasn't difficult to transition from Tamar to Thomas, one of the 12. The other apostles were more concerned about themselves, that they get good placements. Jerusalem was a popular destination, and was sitting closest to Yeshua. Thomas didn't care. Z was quiet, even meek, but Z was okay with this. Z had heard somewhere that the meek will inherit the earth. Z had been sitting next to Yeshua, but the others had jostled here to the outer edges of the activity room at the temple. Z didn't appreciate being jostled by the other apostles and questioned their motives in wanting to be close to Yeshua. Z pushed the thoughts from her mind. Now that Z was helping Yeshua, Z tried to follow the example of turning the other sheep. Thomas had decided to leave since Z wasn't waiting for placement. Z would be traveling with Yeshua. They were both staying with their mother. Tamar had told the mother that she could now call here Thomas, and that Z would be helping Yeshua. The mother just smiled. In the temple, Thomas grew tired of waiting. Yeshua would be flanked by apostles when he was leaving. Peter and James and John were always vying to walk next to him. Thomas yawned. Z wondered what the sundial said. It seemed like days had passed, but it was probably only a few hours. Z slipped out the back door. Thomas? It was Mary Magdalene. Thomas had met her once before. Z recognized the angular planes of her dark face, her large hands, her smooth dark skin. The plaits of her dark hair fell below her shoulders. She spoke. "I recognize you. You're Thomas, the twin." The transformation from Tamar to Thomas felt natural. Z had wrapped a piece of cloth tightly around Here's small breasts. Z wore a tunic and a brown linen robe that Z borrowed from Yeshua. Her breasts didn't show. The tightness of the fabric pressing into her breasts reminded her to lower her voice. Z wore a shawl around her head, of loose woven linen, draped over her shoulders just like Yeshua's. The shawl fell over her tunic. As Tamar, Z had usually wore a blue robe like the mother's. When Yeshua first saw Tamar as Thomas, he said that he had always known that Z would make a righteous brother. Thomas took it as a compliment. Z didn't feel like Z was impersonating a man. Z felt more like herself. Yeshua had told her here to smile less because it would make here appear more masculine. It was true. Z trained herself not to smile. The mother smiled all the time. Sometimes it was a distant smile, a tired smile, a mysterious smile. At times, an inquisitive smile. Tamar had to remember to drop her voice when Z was dressed as Thomas. Even though the mother had named here Thomas when Z was born, Thomas was Greek for twin. I wasn't allowed in the temple, so I took off my headscarf, Mary Magdalene explained apologetically. Thomas kept her voice at a low register. "What do you mean you weren't allowed in?" Mary Magdalene responded. When I came to the temple to attend the meeting that Yeshua called, Peter met me outside and told me that the meeting was closed to females. Thomas replied, "That is not true. I used to go. I mean, the mother comes to the temple all the time. Yeshua invited you, so you are welcome." "If only all the men were like you," replied Mary Magdalene. I had a feeling that Peter was up to no good when he sent me away. He had evil in his eyes. Thomas replied, "Yes, Peter is jealous of you and Yeshua." Mary Magdalene looked dejected. It doesn't matter, Thomas said. You and I are Yeshua's favorites. We're the only one he trusts. He told me himself there was no way to know that the apostles won't abandon him in crisis. Thomas continued, besides, we'll be traveling with Yeshua when he performs his miracles. There's nothing that Peter can say that will change that. Mary Magdalene nodded and said, Peter treats me like an adversary, but I am trying not to respond with anger. For one thing, it would tarnish the feeling I hold for Yeshua. I do feel that he can truly save us. Thomas had an idea. I'll walk with you to your destination. Yeshua would want that. Thomas felt bad about deceiving Mary Magdalene. Z wanted to tell her that Z was born as Yeshua's female twin. But then Z remembered the pact with Yeshua in the desert when he had declared they were beyond gender. The next day, Thomas and Mary Magdalene traveled with Yeshua and the mother to a marriage in the town of Cana in the tribal region of Galilee. It was a hot day and half a day's journey. The mother had borrowed some camels so that they could make the trip. When they arrived at the dusty grounds outside the tabernacle, Yeshua poured himself a cup of water from one of the stone jugs sitting in the shade. It's a shame that the wedding party has no wine, said the man standing nearby. Yeshua drained his cup, wiped the arm of his robe across the lip, and spoke.
But the water is cool and refreshing, and it is infinitely better for a body than wine, especially on a hot day like this.
Thomas was helping Mary Magdalene with her bags, and turned around and looked at the man to whom Yeshua was speaking. The man was dressed in a white linen robe, woven through with strands of gold. He narrowed his eyes, looked at Yeshua, and spoke. I don't recognize you. You must be a traveler. Allow me to introduce myself. I am John, the son of the governor of Cana.
Then your father is a Roman?
No, replied the man. He's a Jew, a well-respected Pharisee.
I see. I'll tell you what. I can change this water into wine.
The man cocked his right eyebrow, looked amused, and asked, and you are?
Yeshua, the Son of God.
Thomas had a sinking feeling in his stomach. Yeshua was acting sincere, but Z knew that he had something to prove. It occurred to her that Yeshua might be going around saying that he was the Son of God because he wasn't sure that Joseph was his real father. Thomas had a moment of feeling sadness for her twin. The bad feeling that Z had felt when Z heard Yeshua saying that he was the Son of God didn't go away. It got worse. The Son of God? Asked the man.
Yes, I will prove it to you by changing this water into wine.